Hello and welcome. This is Gray Hughes of Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
Huh? It's a house!
What is going on, freaks? Where is that? Well, there's Benny and Clancy just chilling out again. Alright, I think I switch over to this one, right? Oh yeah, so check it out. This is going to be for yesterday, all the people who played. Now what I have, it's if you, on my show, if people, since I'm getting new notebooks, sometimes I give out the notebooks for the people who help support the channel during the show financially, and so it was like for every $5 you put in, you get one of these wedges here. And so I went and put everybody who did last night, and then I'm also going to add the people who had less than, like if it was $2 or something, and they're going to be other. So if it lands on other, then I just spin for those people. All right, so it's less of a chance, but hey, why not? So these are the people from yesterday. See, like Richard Watts will be part of the others. All right, just a second. So I'm going to spin this, and whoever wins this, you just send me your address, and I add you to the list. When I get all the notebooks and the chips and everything, I'll send them out. So here we go. Look at that, it's Karen Messenger. All right. So there you go. So Karen Messenger from yesterday. And like I said, if it had landed on other, then I would spin just for the people who would be like a Richard Watts. All right. Sweet, there you go. So if you're out there, Karen Messenger, make sure to email the address and I'll send it off. And also, if you do the buy me a coffee, you get it's like 1.5 spin. Like if you send 10, you get 3 wedges, because YouTube doesn't take. Well, I mean that's they still take like 12% of 5, but it's not 30 like YouTube. All right. So there you go. So we have our part 2 coming up now. That is the, let's see. It's going to be from the I think the 17th until the 21st of November. Back in 2022. So we're just kind of going through. Yesterday, we went through, the initial reportings and the first press conference, and, the coroner spoke and was talking about how bloody the crime scene was, etc. All right. And thanks, Richard Watts. And before we get started, that was a pretty amazing day for those people out there that voted for Trump. If you weren't a fan of Trump, you probably didn't like it. But the people of the United States spoke, and that's who they decided to pick. And I thought, I voted for Trump. I wanted Trump to be president. The last 4 years to me has been an absolute catastrophe with the border and all the murders associated with that, and it's incredible. I don't know if you guys saw this. I think it should almost be a crime, but he pardoned, while Trump was about to give his inauguration speech, Biden pardoned his entire family, which basically proves that they were in collusion. That they were doing the pay-for-play schemes from behind the scenes. That's why Hunter Biden was getting $500,000 for paintings. I mean, is he that good? No, he sucks. So anyways, pretty weird shit. I mean, even CNN and MSNBC didn't really have a good explanation. Pretty wild, though, isn't it? Yep. So, usually when I bring something like that up, I get punished for it. The people go, "I didn't come here to listen to that, Gray." Well, I'm just saying what I think. Just don't worry about it, you guys. The era of cancel culture is over. I know you guys loved it so much when you could just, when somebody said something, you get rid of them. And I don't know if you guys remember, but I actually feel like I'm one of the people that he was talking about when he says there's people that have been fighting for years about various things. 5 years ago is when I started talking about not having transgenders, males, competing against females in athletics. I talked about it 5 years ago before it was even popular. Okay, nobody, they were like, "Oh, Gray," and the thing is it's absolutely logical. It's crazy that people think it's okay for a biological male because they claim they're a female to play sports against females and take scholarships from females who've worked so hard. I mean, I thought it was the most ludicrous thing that I've ever seen in my life. Anyways, I think most people, when they really sit down in a quiet place and they think about it, they realize the same damn thing. All right, so yes, on this channel, if you guys are out there and you want to help support this channel, I would appreciate it. You got the coffee up in the upper right hand corner, you got the super chats, and if you do $5 or more, you get put into that spin, and you might win at the end of the show. Also, if you send $30 to my PayPal, you get the notebook, the pen, the stress ball, and a Gray Investigates poker chip. And then I send that off, I write something in the book and everything. All right? So that would be, those are some options. Not right at all. Yeah, exactly. I don't know why you deleted that comment. Yeah, I mean, that's right, Danny. I mean, it's obvious, right? I have two friends that have transgender children, and they both agree exactly the same thing that I just said. They know it doesn't even make any sense. They're like, what? Okay, and I bet you if you asked them, most of them wouldn't say that. And I don't care if somebody is transgender or not. People should be able to express themselves however the hell you want to do it. But just don't have it affect everybody else's lives. I mean, this whole thing where you had to remember the correct pronouns and, come on, you guys. I mean, we're better than that. That's insane. All right, so we're starting off. This is the 17th of November. Here we go. An elite Federal Bureau of Investigations unit has joined the search for the suspect who allegedly killed 4 University of Idaho students. So apparently that's probably what turned out to be how they found, because the FBI is who, ended up getting the DNA sample off the knife sheath. 4 University of Idaho students, Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogen, Kaylee Gonzalez, were killed inside a King Street home in Moscow, Idaho, between the hours of 3 and 4 a.m. on Sunday, according to Moscow Mayor Art, Bedge? Or Bedgy? I can't remember what we came up with. Police found the 4 deceased students while responding to an unconscious person call on Sunday at 11:58 a.m. Officials said on Tuesday in a press release that the suspect used an edged weapon such as a knife in the attack against the students. Investigators believe that the incident was an isolated, targeted attack with no imminent threat to the community at large. Coroner Kathy Mabbitt told Fox News that the same knife was likely used as the weapon in the killing of all 4 victims. So the same knife. A spokesperson for the FBI told Fox News Digital on Thursday that its behavioral analysis, BAU, behavioral analysis unit, is assisting local law enforcement officials in the case. The unit performs crime analysis, profiles of unknown offenders, investigative suggestions, threat assessments, interviews, strategies, and critical incident analysis. Now let's see what it says up here.
We bring in Judge Jeanine Pirro, co-host of The Five. She is live in Hollywood, Florida, ahead of the big Patriot Awards ceremony tonight. Jeanine, this is a really...
Somebody's singing in the background. They're singing God Bless America. I can hear
complex case here, and there are so many obvious questions, but I want to know what's jumping out at you right now.
Well, what's jumping out at me is why does it take a police department 4 days to say that there can be a danger to the community? Right off the bat, I'm concerned about this police department. That's number one. Number two.
So they have the grub truck video there.
Where did the mayor come off saying this was a crime of passion? Number three, why did it take us so long to find out that there were 2 other kids in that apartment? Number four, if there was a bleeding out of these 4 young people, that tells me
she looks so much
this
younger
was
then.
as brutal as they said, but that there were also can be footprints from the blood stains. We've got to look for that. That's something the police should...
Yeah, so if you look at, come on. Right there, you can see it. Yeah, it's
be looking
stupid.
for. State police, the FBI are now involved.
Right there, that's
Well,
blood coming down
This is a
through
police
the
department
room
that has
onto the
not
cement.
had a homicide in at least, 6 years. And in addition to that, how is it that one
Is that the
person
glove
they're
right there?
looking for, one person they're so clear about
Nobody
was
saw.
able to slaughter
That's funny.
4 young, strong individuals?
Yeah.
Maybe they came in at different times. Maybe it happened between 3 and 4 in the morning. We don't know for sure. But what I do know is there is no way one person does this to 4 people unless they've been bound, gagged, and I don't know if one person can do all that, or unless they're incapacitated in some way.
Yeah.
The medical examiner says there's no indication of any kind of substance that might have incapacitated them, but how does she know? You don't get the toxicology back for a couple of weeks. What I also want to know is whether or not there is a connection between this and what happened in September, where they had a guy with a blue backpack, dressed in black, with a black baseball cap, who had a knife, a vicious-looking knife, like this Rambo knife. Why are they so convinced it's only one knife? How do they know there weren't 2 knives? And in addition to all of this, who were the enemies? Who was in the house? I'm not saying that they were enemies, but how could you not know? There is bleeding out of that house, Martha, from inside to outside.
Extraordinary.
So there's a lot to look for.
You make great points. There were 2 people in the house, we now know, who were not killed in this. And we know roughly what kind of weapon was used, but you make the point that occurred to me as well on this. How do you kill 4 young, able-bodied people?
Right. Well, the answer is you go into a house where people are just getting back from drinking an hour or two earlier, and now are sleeping or really tired, and that's how you do that. 4 University of Idaho students, Ethan Chapin, 20, Xana Kernodle, we already did that part. Officials said on Tuesday in a press release that the suspect used an edged weapon. Well, now we got Dr. Bodden here. Unit performs crime analysis profiles of unknown offenders. Jackie Fisher, owner of the Mad Greek restaurant, where both Mogen and Kernodle worked, told Fox News Digital that she's deeply saddened by the incident. All I can say right now is that we're just all deeply saddened by the loss of both Maddie and Xana. They were wonderful workers. They've been here for a couple of years with me, Fisher said. All the employees are just shook right now, I think, as well as the rest of the Moscow community. Now, if that's another video, let's see what...
All I can say right now is that we're just all
that's her.
deeply saddened by the loss of both Maddie and Xana. They were wonderful workers. They've been here for a couple years with me. All of the employees are just shook right now, I think, as well as the rest of the Moscow community.
Yeah. A memorial service for Chapin is scheduled for November 21st. An obituary is encouraging attendees to wear blue, which was Ethan's triplet color. During Wednesday press conference, Moscow Police Department Chief James Fry said that 2 roommates were inside the house when the 4 victims were killed on early Sunday morning. The 2 roommates were unhurt, according to Fry, who didn't add if the individuals were witnesses to the attack. Well, I guess you could say Dylan Mortensen, we find out later, didn't see the attack. She saw the attacker and heard likely some of the attack. Police haven't identified a person of interest or a suspect. We do not have a suspect at this time, and we cannot say there is no threat to the community. We need to be vigilant. We need to watch out for our neighbors, Fry said. Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson told NBC News on Thursday that it's possible there's more than one suspect. It certainly is possible. That's the purpose of the investigation. That's why we're really hoping for any information from the public that can help investigators recreate everyone's activities from Saturday night into early Sunday morning, and hopefully give them the leads, the information to identify who did this. All right. Mogen and Gonzalez were both seen on a Twitch stream truck in Moscow, Idaho. I wonder if does that go right to it? No. I know I recorded the Twitch stream a long time ago. I just have to try to go out and find it. All right. Let's see. So we got, thanks, Lisa Valenzuela sent in a buy me a coffee, so she gets to have a 2 different wedges there. Out there's Alley Cake. Thanks so much. Oh, look at that. There's Nancy Grace. Idaho murder timelines. What we know about this slaying of 4 students. And thanks, Alley Cake. She's trying for a wave. She's trying for a wave. Don't let Alley Cake down. Idaho murder timeline. What we know about the slayings of 4 students. Nearly 7 weeks Has it really been 7 weeks? Well, it's November 17th. Well, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, 7 days. It wouldn't even be 7 days. This is 4 days. Although it looks like it was updated January 16th. So I don't really know if I want to... Let's not play that one, because that probably gave too much later information. Mystery surrounds stabbing death of Idaho students. This is in the AP. Autopsies performed on the University of Idaho students who were found dead inside a rental house near campus showed that all 4 were stabbed to death, the Latah County coroner said Thursday. The killings have shaken Moscow and Idaho Panhandle College town of 25,000 residents that last saw a homicide about 5 years ago, according to the coroner, Kathy Mabbitt. It's pretty tough, Mabbitt said. The autopsies were performed in nearby Spokane. Is there a suspect? Officers have not identified a suspect or found a blade that was used to stab the students, Moscow Police Chief James Fry said Wednesday, but the Idaho Statesman reported this week that police are searching for a military-style knife in connection with the killings. And I remember they were thinking it was from the ROTC, and then the boyfriend of Kaylee was an ROTC. So there was just sort of these little things that they didn't clear different people, so you started to wonder. I know they actually looked into different people for a little bit. Scott Judy, general manager of Moscow Building Supply, told the newspaper that officers have visited the store more than once to ask whether it sold anyone K-Bar brand knives. K-Bar or Olean, New York, manufactures military-grade blades that were originally designed for use by American troops in World War II, the statesman said. Who are the victims? All 4 were University of Idaho students. We already know all about them. Did the killer or killers know the victims? It's unclear. Police have said evidence found at the scene leads them to believe that the students were targeted. Though I remember that one part where they were saying they weren't sure if the students were targeted or the home. But I think it's like, what do you mean by that? Like a robbery gone wrong? No chance, man. While a targeted attack is often an indication that the killer and victim knew each other on some level, police have also said they have no idea who committed these crimes. So it could have been a stranger. Investigators do say nothing appears to have been stolen from the victim's home, right? Did the students raise security concerns beforehand? Police have not said whether any of the reported unusual activity or otherwise expressed safety concerns before the attack. The University of Idaho did not respond to questions about whether the school had been alerted to any concerns or complaints from students. They said there probably isn't a threat to the community, but they don't have anybody arrested yet, so be vigilant. Who else was in the home? 2 other people were found in the sprawling house unharmed. Fry declined to say whether they were able to provide an account of the killings or to specify who called 911. I think it was, they used Dylan Mortenson's phone, but it wasn't her. Like, she was too freaked out, and one of the friends who showed up, they called, and they probably didn't even go over and check on them because it's too spooky. They probably called the name. Let's say they see a body on the ground and they know it's Ethan or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, Ethan," and he's not responding, so they call and say there's somebody who's unconscious. Because they haven't tested to see if they're dead or alive. It's probably you're not really wanting to admit that they're alive or not. Or dead, you're not going to want to be like, well, they're dead. It just feels better to say they're unconscious to a kid, I would imagine. When were the students last seen alive? Chapin and Kernodle were at a party on campus Saturday night, and Mogen and Goncalves were at a downtown bar and arrived home sometime after 1:45 a.m. Sunday. Friday, Mogen and Gonzalez were seen in a Twitch live stream getting food from a local truck. Hey, 18 months. Thanks, Michelle H. And Alley Cake, thanks for trying. I guess they didn't want to follow your wave. When were the students last seen alive? Chapin and Kernodle were at a party on campus Saturday night, and Mogen and Gonzalez were at a downtown bar. What's happening on campus? University of Idaho President Scott Green said the school will remain open the rest of the week because some students have found comfort there among faculty and classmates, but the school is also giving excused absences to anyone who feels more comfortable leaving early ahead of next week's Thanksgiving holiday. Yeah, see, he timed it all for a reason. You know, his license plate was going to expire, plus it's right before the holiday weekend, so he could then, kill, switch his plates, and then drive all the way back to Pennsylvania. All right, this is the... Wait, hold on. Did we do this one? Yeah.
Idaho, our community, the families, the University of Idaho, our community, our country, and our officers.
That is Moscow's police chief addressing the media for the first time yesterday following the deaths of 4 University of Idaho students. And new overnight, the Spokane County medical examiner completing the autopsies of those students.
So now we're waiting on the Latah County coroner to make the official ruling on the cause and manner of death.
Also, Moscow police say they can no longer say with certainty that there is no threat to the community.
So this morning, Crim 2's Nicole Hernandez is joining us from the newsroom now to break down what we learned yesterday from that press conference. So good morning, Nicole. What can you gather from this?
So earlier this week, the Moscow Police Department told us there was no threat to the public, but yesterday they walked that back, saying the person who killed these 4 students is still out there and investigators don't know who they are. One thing Police Chief James Fry is insisting is that this was a targeted attack, but they couldn't tell us why they believe that.
We still believe it's a targeted attack, but the reality is there's still a person out there who committed 4 horrible, horrible crimes. I will tell you, we are looking at everyone. Every tip we get, every lead we get, there's no one that we're not going to talk to. There's no one we're not going to interview. There's no one that we're not going to look into.
We also learned the killings happened early Sunday morning. Investigators did not find any sign of forced entry into the home or a weapon. Chief Fry says 2 roommates were also home during the attack, but were not hurt. He could not call them witnesses and also couldn't tell us why it took so long for someone to call 911. Chief Fry says investigators are still working out a timeline of what happened. They could tell us 2 of the students had been at a party and the other 2 had been at a bar that night. The Spokane County medical examiner confirmed with us they have finished the autopsy of all 4 bodies. They've sent that information over to the Latah County coroner, who will now be able to officially declare manner and cause of death. At the press conference, police say the students were stabbed with a knife. The Moscow Police Department had been getting a lot of criticism for waiting this long to tell us anything. Chief Fry admitted yesterday he should have done a press conference earlier. In the newsroom, Nicole Hernandez, Crim 2 News.
Now the university is telling us what they're doing to keep students safe on campus.
The University of Idaho's Dean of Students says they have increased campus security patrols as well as security escorts. Those are available to students 24 hours a day.
Yeah, they started doing escorts for all the students after that.
They also have drop-in counseling, and they say...
That's actually kind of what Madison and Kaylee, how they got home. Used like a ride share. I'm not sure if that was like an Uber, or it seemed like it was more like a campus sort of help people get home thing.
Students have used this since the deaths. The dean says they...
Hey, thanks, Amber Maiden.
...support students who decide to leave early for Thanksgiving break.
In the meantime, the Pullman Police Department is giving a series of safety tips. They're reminding people in the community to stay vigilant and to be aware of their surroundings. They're also giving the reminder, if you see something, say something. Now, University Police also released a statement yesterday saying that they have increased patrols on the Pullman campus. Now, all over the country, thoughts and prayers are coming in as people remember the lives of those 4 students.
Yeah, I mean, this was right around the time Fox News started covering it on the 17th. They weren't doing it prior to that. So I thought we could watch this. Well, coming up here, one of these videos has a full... Like, this is where it gets sort of interesting, where we're starting to see the house a little bit and some of the layout. And this is where I think we started covering it maybe on the 15th or 16th, something like that. Victims and their roommates on June 5th, according to Team Idaho Property Management Supervisor. Let's see, I think I'm missing something. The house where the University of Idaho students were murdered on November 13th, located off campus near the university's Greek Row homes, was rented out to victims and their roommates on June 5th, according to, so that was just 5 months prior. Victim Ethan Chapin, I mentioned all their name again, were stabbed to death at 3 or 4 a.m. on November 13th, and they returned home that evening at about 1:45 a.m. Yeah, I think it was like closer to 2. 2 additional roommates inside the house on the night of the homicides were unharmed in the attack that police are calling an isolated targeted incident. And I remember the exact time. I think it was like 2:40 something. I'm not sure if it's going to be in any of these articles, but Kaylee's boyfriend, Kaylee tried to text her boyfriend, and it was just more like, hey, come visit, and then her boyfriend didn't respond to her. Then Madison texted, and there was a whole timeline written up about that. She texted, and then I think Kaylee tried one more time, but he never responded. And then it felt like, okay, wow, so there's a fight, and something bad happened. Who knows? But it turns out his friend just said something like, hey, don't call her back, don't answer her, play hard to get or something. And that might have saved his life, actually. Because then it would have been... Well, here's the thing. What's weird about that is... If he did go over there, Kaylee would have been in her own room with him, not on Madison's bed, like 2 girls just hanging out, talking, and they fall asleep. So that's how that might have played out differently, but it seems like one of them might have woken up if they had heard Madison being attacked, and then it would have led to them being killed also, but then maybe it wouldn't have gone down to Xana Kernodle and Ethan Chapin. It's just weird how like a little thing might have changed the entire situation. And it could have just been that Kohberger would have been able to get into Madison's room and kept it quiet. But I think the fact that Kaylee was in there, he didn't realize she was going to be in there. It was a little bit more than he wanted to handle. And he wasn't able to do what he wanted to do when he was in that room. I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me play this. Oh yeah, well, this is 51 seconds here. That's a one of the DJI drones there. First floor, that's just horrendous. I have a whole 3D model that I built. Okay, so this is the back of the house. That's Kaylee's bedroom right here. That's the kitchen right below it. There's a balcony that goes around. And then there's also a window over on that side of Madison Mogen's bedroom. And so the killer actually went through the sliding glass door here. James Fry said during a Wednesday press conference that there were no signs of forced entry at the house when they initially responded to the report of an unconscious person. Yeah, that's because they snuck in through, they just came through the open sliding glass door. Jeffrey Kernodle, Xana Kernodle's father, told 3TV CBS 5 that the house had, what happened? Did we just lose? What page was I on there? That was weird. It just switched on me without me wanting it to. The house had lock. That the house had a lock with a number code on the front. Well, yeah, but if you left the back door open, which they probably did often, then that's how the person could get in. And that's the sliding glass door right there. Neighbors said they heard some noise from the house on the night of the murders, but that it was not unusual to hear noise from residents because the street is known for hosting student parties. Many students left campus early before Thanksgiving break after the tragedy. Authorities are imploring anyone with information about the murders or the victims' whereabouts. Hey, welcome, Sirius Black. That even they call the Moscow police, but that's irrelevant now. All right, so you got that, and then let's see what this video is. This is on the 18th.
You've been with us for the past week. We have been.
So that's a pretty good shot right there. Look how steep that is, you guys. So that camera is filming straight out. And look how high it is to get back up there. And just to the right of this is the house. Now earlier today I was looking at something I thought was pretty interesting. Like, look at this, is way back up on this back street. Sigma Chi is right up here. And look, you can see the house back there. And that's even October 2021. This is a year prior. So from way back here on a street view, see, that's what I was doing. Like, the house is way over here, but there's this little gap in the. So if you go down to about right there, and then you can. That's the Queen Road, 500 Queen Road, where the white Elantra we'll see later on, not today, but goes around and does a loop back there. But there you go. There it is right there. There's the house. And that is July 2023 when the windows are boarded up. But if you go to October 2021, you know, I don't know what's in that window there, but that's a year before the homicides. Now, the barcode is for my Buy Me a Coffee. If you want to buy me a coffee to support the channel, you get the you know, for every $5 you send in, you get two, well, especially on Buy Me a Coffee, you get 2 pie, you know, on the spin of the wheel, you get 2 pie wedges. If you send in $20, you get 6 of them. And then you might win the notebook. And you just send me your address, and then you don't just win the notebook, you get the whole package. The notebook, pen, the poker chip, the stress ball, you know. So if you're out there and you feel like you want to help support the channel, that would be awesome. We do a lot of great things. Helps me keep moving along and everything. So but that's Queen Road 500 right there. And that night, I mean, looking at it like this is sort of interesting. Like, the car drives up like this. There's a white Elantra driving around, and it literally goes all the way around like this, and then around, and then back behind those other buildings, and then comes back out again. So it's kind of interesting just looking at it like that.
You've been with us for the past week. We have been bringing you new details in the murder stabbing case of those 4 students there from the University of Idaho. We showed you the press conference from police and university officials just a couple of days ago, in which they have no suspect or suspects in custody and not many leads to get one into custody. Right now, though, we are learning.
By the way, is that the glove right there? Wouldn't that be crazy? That little black spot right there.
Learning that the Moscow, Idaho Police Department has put out a map of sorts with a timeline of the information they know at this point in time about what has transpired. We're going to put this up on the screen for you. Take a look at this. Okay, the following map details the night of November 12th into the early hours of November 13th. That was last weekend. The locations and approximate times when Kaylee, Goncalves, and Madison Mogen were in downtown Moscow, Idaho, while Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle were at the Sigma Chi house. Anyone near these areas who can provide relevant information is asked to call the Moscow Police Department. Okay, so we also got kind of another major piece of information in this story. I'm going to put up this Associated Press news alert that came across the transom. This was tweeted out by Live Now's own Josh Breslow from Spokane, Washington. 4 University of Idaho students who were found dead in a rental house Sunday were stabbed to death in their beds and likely were asleep, according to a county coroner who said that on a cable news channel today. Now remember, investigators believe they were stabbed to death. Their autopsies were on Wednesday, the same day as the police press conference. And now this county coroner, who presumably conducted the autopsies, said that the 4 students who were found dead were stabbed to death in their beds and likely were asleep. Okay, back out to the map that the Moscow, Idaho Police Department put out. You can see there times, at least time frames, of the night of the 12th and early morning of the 13th about where these 4 students were in relation to campus before they got to their shared residence. Now, remember, we learned in the police press conference.
Yeah, so 11, yeah, they were at the Corner Club, and then they just went down the street. We have all this on the map too. That's where the grub truck video is, and that grub truck's always there. They still have videos now that are all that match up. You know, still looks exactly the same. It's in the exact same spot.
That 2 other students were in the house at the time of the stabbing, presumably.
Yeah, that's Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk. Dylan Mortensen was in a horrendous position in that house.
In addition to the 4 students you see there, Madison, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan.
All right. Then there's also these reports. I went out and found those again. Now, somebody wants me to cover. I mean, maybe if it pops up, because it's not now, but later on, apparently there was a dog that was killed in the area that was like skinned or something, and people want to try to associate that with Kohberger. You know, it might pop up, you know, because I'm just doing this day by day. Again, we're just going back in time, and we're currently on November 18th. The City of Moscow Police Department is providing the following information to update the public on the known facts surrounding the 4 murders that occurred on November 13th in Moscow, Idaho. This is on November 18th. On the evening of November 12th, Kaylee, Goncalves, Madison Mogen were at a local bar called the Corner Club at 202 North Main Street. Right, so if we go to 202 North Main Street, Moscow. It's just this weird bar. Kind of looks like an old strip bar or something. There's no windows on it. You know, I mean, just look at it. I mean, it just oozes strip bar, doesn't it? I mean, look at that. I mean, it's like, I don't think there's a window anywhere in the building. So even on this side. But anyways, that is where Madison Mogen and Kaylee Goncalves were hanging out. Then they walked down the street, and then here, let me just turn on all of the everything. Let me turn that. Let's see. All right. Yeah, and then right after they leave the corner club, there's actually video right in this area where you hear Madison, or Kaylee say to Madison, what did you say to Adam? And they're walking right by right there. Now the Mad Greek restaurant somewhere around in here, and then the, let's see if I turn it back on. So grub truck is right here. That's where they're seen on a Twitch video at grub truck. And then after a while they got picked up and driven home. But on the evening of November 12th, Kaylee Gonzalez and Madison Mogen were at a local bar called the Coroner Club at 202 Main Street in downtown Moscow between 10 p.m. and 1:30 a.m. on November 13th. At approximately 1:40 a.m., Kaylee and Madison were seen on video at a local food vendor called the Grub Truck at 318 South Main Street and used a private party for a ride home from downtown to arrive at their 1122 King Road residence. Now, they were waiting in line. They were at the Corner Club, and then this guy, I think his name is Jack also, he helped walk the girls home or whatever. He was going to do that, and then they went to go to the Grub Truck, and he was standing behind them, and he was like, everybody thought, oh my God, he's suspicious. He did look sort of suspicious, you know, the way he was standing there, but he was cleared really early, so, you know. And then when Madison Mogen and Kaylee went to go get their food from the other end of the truck, they just kind of left, and he was still standing there, and he's like, okay, see you, and then he walked off. That's about it. Investigators have determined that Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle were seen at the Sigma Chi house at the University of Idaho campus at 735 Nez Perce Drive. At approximately 1:45 a.m., Ethan and Xana are believed to have returned to the residence at 1122 King Road. It was previously reported that Ethan resided at the home. However, it has been determined that he was only visiting. Right. Let me see what happens. I gotta turn something. Oh, that's why. Because I have this overlay, this huge. Is that it right there? There we go. Look at it. Look at how much stuff I have in this case. I mean, is that crazy or what? I mean, that's insane. Hey, thanks, Zozo. Zozo said, let's get this wave going. Race y'all for the wheel prize, freaks. All right, come on, you guys. You can do it. Let's have 2 good nights in a row. Let's see. 2 other roommates were at the residence that night. On November 30th at 11:58 a.m., officers responded to the residence after... Hold on one second, I gotta move something. There. At approximately 1:45 a.m., Ethan and Xana are believed to have returned to the residence at 1122 King Road. It was previously reported that Ethan resided at the home. However, it has been determined that he was only visiting. Right. And so I'll show you where he lived. So if you're somebody that's relatively new to the case, I mean, everything's really tight in there. This is where 1122 King Road is. And Sigma Chi is just right there. And it's really close. I mean, like, if you're just... Here, I'll just show you. Watch. This is a good place to stand. There's Sigma Chi. You turn around, and literally you just go right like this. And then you drive up that street, and there's part of the balcony of the house. It's that close. Okay, right there. Thanks, Linda Howe. As in Linda Moulden Howe of the Cattle Mutilations and crop circles. There you go. Two other roommates were at the residence. I think we're going to here. Investigators have determined that Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle was seen at Sigma Chi. Yeah, we already said that. Okay, then two other roommates were at the residence that night. On November 13th at 11:58 a.m., officers responded to the residence after a 911 call reported an unconscious individual. Upon arrival, officers discovered Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan deceased inside the residence. Autopsies were conducted on November 17th. The Latah County Coroner confirmed the identity of the four murdered individuals, and their cause and manner of death is homicide by stabbing. The coroner stated that the four victims were likely asleep. Some had defensive wounds, and each was stabbed multiple times. There was no sign of sexual assault. At this time in the investigation, I wonder if he had gotten Madison alone, if he would have tried something. Probably, I don't know. And I think he was just there to kill, actually. He's not stupid enough to leave DNA like that. I mean, it was the DNA that they found was on underneath the button of a knife, like the snap on a knife sheath. So he didn't think that they were going to find that. At this time in the investigation, detectives do not believe the two surviving roommates or the male in the grub truck surveillance video. That's the one that was walking behind them. Also in the, what did you say to Adam video? He's the same guy. Additionally, online reports of the victims being tied and gagged are not accurate. The identity of the 911 caller has not been released. They still haven't released that. As part of the investigation, detectives seized the contents of the 3 dumpsters on King Road to locate possible evidence. Additionally, detectives have contacted local businesses to determine if a fixed blade knife had been recently purchased. At the time of this release, detectives have received nearly 500 tips which are being processed, investigated, and cleared. 38 interviews have been conducted with individuals who may have information about the murders. Anyone with information about this crime is asked to call a phone number. Moscow Police Department has 4 detectives, 24 patrol officers, 5 support staff. FBI has 22 investigators. In Moscow, 20 assigned agents located out of Treasure Valley, Idaho. And then Idaho State Police has 20 investigators, public information officer, ISP, forensic services, and then 15 uniformed troopers to assist. Currently, there are no suspects in custody, and the weapon has not been found. So that was on the 18th of November, just 5 days after. Now, we don't know what he was wearing. Jog 73. It was all black, but we don't know if he had a jumpsuit on. If you can find a document that shows us that, let me know. I know all this case, Jalen. I know this case better than anybody else on the internet covering this case. Right? Just letting you know. I actually do. I'm just starting from the beginning. Just to kind of get the flow back in. I know the whole damn thing. Kohberger is the killer. Okay? But we're just leading up. We're just going through it again just for people out there that want to know. Like how it was, what was going on. Kind of makes you think about it again differently. It's weird how people just show up and they're so rude like that. It's just unreal, But yes, you guys, if you're out there and you have the ability to help out the Gray Hughes Investigates YouTube channel, give yourself a shot to win the notebook and all the other items with it. That would be great. I would really appreciate it. Last year, this channel gave away $49,000. The year before that, 50-something, then 60 the year before that, and then 40-something year before that, and 20-something year before that, all up to $229,000 given away out of the income from the channel to various true crime-related charities, a DNA fund, and a scholarship fund. Our recent scholarship fund already has 3 winners picked. Maybe we'll actually play those videos or something. I mean, this year we did 3 video just applications of video, not words. Last time it was like 500 applications had to be read by, Zozo and Plato, basically read them all. So it'd be great to be able to continue to have a scholarship fund and a DNA fund. All right, so now we're on this one. On Thursday, Latah County Coroner Kathy Abbott confirmed that the 4 victims of Sunday night's quadruple homicide in Moscow, Idaho, were stabbed to death. And now she says they were all found in bed. I mean, I'm not sure if that's accurate or not. I know, well, the thing is 2 of them were on a bed. And so were they all found on a bed? On November 13th, Xana Kernodle, 20, Ethan Chapin, 20, Madison Mogen, 21, and Kaylee Gonzalez, 21, were found dead in an off-campus residence near the University of Idaho, where they were all 4 students. 2 additional roommates were home during the attack, but were unharmed, Moscow Police Chief James Fry said during a Wednesday press conference, but he has declined to label them as a witness. No suspects have been named or arrested at this time. Mabbitt confirmed in a release shared by Moscow Police Department on Thursday that their deaths were officially ruled homicides. While speaking on News Nation, Mabbitt said that they were found in beds, but could not disclose what area of the home they were in. Well, we know that now that Madison Mogen and Kaylee were both found up in Madison's room on the bed. Madison was on her stomach. Kaylee was sort of sitting up but hunched over in the corner of the bedroom on the bed. And then the knife sheath was found on the outside. A little later we find out about a knife sheath that was found. Anyways, it was late night or early in the morning, so it seems like that maybe they were sleeping. In a press release on Tuesday, authorities confirmed that no weapons have been found, but Mabbitt told News Nation the wounds were from a pretty large knife. It has to be somebody that's pretty angry in order to stab 4 people to death. The Moscow Police Department is asking anyone for information to call a particular number. All right, then here's we're on the 19th now. And the thing with the spin, we got to get to the goal to spin. So if we don't get to the goal, I'll just store the ones from tonight, and we'll just add it, to another night if we get to a goal. I mean, I'll add it, like let's say tonight, and then whenever we get to a goal number, I'll spin for those, who's ever on it at that time. Okay, this one says, Moscow, Idaho, update 8:28 p.m. The cell phone used to call 911 belonged to one of the surviving roommates. Due to the ongoing investigation, the identity of the caller has not been released. The Moscow Police Department is providing the following information to update the public on the known facts surrounding the 4 murders. This is the updated information. At this time, detectives have investigated the private party driver who took Kaylee and Madison home on November 13th and do not believe he is involved in the crime. So that's a male. Detectives believe that on November 12th, the 2 surviving roommates had been out in Moscow community separately but returned home by 1 a.m. The two did not wake up until later on November 13th. Although one of them was awake. I guess it was... I mean, it's sort of interesting because I guess, 4 in the morning is the next day. The two did not wake up until later on November 13th. Well, that's not really accurate because Dylan was awake at around 4. Initially, the 911 call made at 11:58 a.m. on November 13th requested aid for an unconscious person. The call was made from inside the residence on one of the roommates' cell phones. So I think it was Dylan's phone. Moscow Police Department arrived shortly thereafter and found all 4 victims. Detectives confirmed the victims were located on the 2nd and 3rd floor of the residence. Detectives are now aware of multiple phone calls from victims Madison and Kaylee to a male. So that's the one I was telling you about earlier, where they're calling the boyfriend of Kaylee, and it was like Kaylee, Madison, then Kaylee all called, but he never answered. This information is part of the ongoing investigation. So at that point, they're not clearing that person, and that's what's, kind of put that person's name out there. And I think the Goncalves were like, no, he has nothing to do with it. Moscow detectives are seeking help from residents and businesses within the area of West Taylor Avenue, West Palouse River, Highway 95, south of 2700, block of Highway 95S, and Arboretum and Botanical Garden west boundary, who have video surveillance at their residence or business between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. on Sunday, November 13, 2022. Detectives are requesting all available video, whether there appears to be motion and content or not. The pictures and videos can be submitted to, and there's like a tip line. There will be a news conference to update the public on the investigation on November 20th. So I think we have that in here somewhere. Let's see. November 20th. Yeah, I think there it is. Okay. So that's going to be on the 20th. So on the evening of November 12th, Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogen were at the local bar. So that's the same information that we just read. We don't have to go through that. What's going on in the chat, you guys? That DNA was easily... No, it wasn't. Don't be H and N. So you don't understand. The thing is with touch DNA... So, how did Bryan Kohberger's touch DNA get on a knife sheath and his white Elantra was driving around and did 4 laps? So you're going to say that somehow, just randomly, somebody else put DNA on there? Come on, man. Wake up. It's not reasonable at all. He even admit to being out that night. So the same night he's out with no alibi, somehow his DNA gets put on a knife sheath. All right. Man, I thought you guys would be interested in playing the, trying to win the notebook. Oh, yeah. Of the 4 University of Idaho students who were found stabbed to death in a rental house last Sunday, some were killed in their beds. Coroner Kathy Mabbitt would not provide any further details. She noted, however, that earlier media reports stating all 4 victims had been murdered in their beds were not accurate. Okay. On Thursday, Mabbitt told CBS News the students were killed with a large knife, expanding on the autopsy report, which concluded the 4 victims were stabbed to death. According to Moscow police, the coroner said all 4 victims were likely asleep. Some had defensive wounds, and each was stabbed multiple times. Man, I thought everybody was interested in this. We only got 176 people watching. We had 300 yesterday on the same. Now we're just doing day 2 now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, there's no doubt in my mind that Bryan Kohberger is the killer. We're just going through this all again just to get the full sense of like how things were going. I think it'll be sort of interesting if you're following along the whole time and then you see, thanks James Long. And hopefully, is there anybody else out there that wants to help support the channel and play to try to win the notebook? The killings have shaken Moscow and Idaho Panhandle, town of 25. I think that already reads exactly like a different article we already read, so I'm not going to do that one. There's another one. How did things unfold before, after University of Idaho killings? A timeline. Okay. This goes, I think, up until the 20th. There have been new developments in the case since the story was published. For the most updated timeline, click here. What does that do? Yeah, we're already there. So November 12th, starting at 8 p.m., Chapin and Kernodle went to a party at Chapin's fraternity, Sigma Chi. Roommates Bethany Funk told police she saw them between 9 p.m. and 1:45 because she was at that same party. Security footage showed Mogen and Goncalves at the Coroner Club bar in downtown Moscow, and they were just kind of sitting at a table together. Then Sunday, November 13th at 1 a.m., the 2 surviving roommates were home by this time. Both had been out in Moscow community, but were not together. 1:30 a.m., Twitch live stream showed Mogen and Goncalves at a downtown food truck known as Grub Truck. The food truck was parked at 318 South Main Street, about 0.2 miles south of the Coroner Club. Kernodle and Chapin returned to the home at 1122 King Road, according to Funk. That was at 1:45. At 1:56 a.m., Mogen and Goncalves used their sorority-designated driving service. So, see what I mean? That was more of a protection thing. So it was their sorority-designated driving service to go home from the food truck. And that seems pretty accurate that time. Then 2 a.m., everyone was home by this time, according to surviving roommate statements. Then 2:42 a.m., a cell phone number connected to Kohberger's home address in Pullman. Oh, so okay, they're going through a timeline with later identified information. So we'll have to wait. All right, here we go. Idaho student murder. Former officers say police jumped the gun with initial targeted attack. Okay, let's watch this though. This is pretty cool. This is just drone footage for like 14 minutes. Get it up in the air. Had to get my drink. Have a drink of something. Yeah, if you send buy me a coffee, you get 2. For every 5, you get 2 wedges of the spin wheel. So look, those are all their cars still sitting there. That's crazy. when they have the window shut. Like right now, if that window was open, like clear, the one on the upper right, you could probably see into the room and all the crap that was going on. What they're doing. Yeah, let's get it past all this. I don't really care what they're digging around in there. Yeah, so that house is all gone now. Been torn down, thankfully. The defense people wanted it, the people that support Kohberger, not even his attorneys, they all want that house to still be there, this murder house. They want it sitting there for years, even with appeals and everything. It's ludicrous. Oh, wow, there's somebody walking around in there. Or what was that? So that's an angle. Is that a car on the ground? Let's see. By the way, wasn't that amazing when Carrie Underwood just said, screw it, and sang the song all by herself, and had the audience singing too, but I thought it was pretty awesome. Oh, so that's kind of a cool shot. See, that's one we could look at. So, like we see in the probable cause document later on, unfortunately you can't pause it, but the white Elantra dries up like this and then goes around, and then eventually comes back out like this. And then it tries to turn around or stop right in this area, and then does a 3-point turn over here on the right to Queen and King, then drives back this way again and back around. Yeah, go over here. Yeah. So right there, this room, so let's just go like this. Hold on. I'll go back over here. I'll explain to you where stuff is for those who don't know. So that's the front door down there to the residence. this window right above, right here, that is Xana Kernodle's room. All right, and then there's a living room out in this area, and then there's a little step up, and it goes to the area where there's some stairs that go upstairs, and then that bedroom right there is Kaylee's room with the sliding glass door that goes out onto the deck. That's the sliding glass door to the kitchen, and that's a window in the kitchen, and the killer came down like this and went through the sliding glass door, down the hallway, up the stairs, and makes their way into Madison Mogen's room. Yeah, so nothing happened in this room, and nothing happened here. And these chairs are put there to keep, have the... It might be where there was no lock on this. I don't know. But this isn't something the killer put there or anything like that. I'm going back a little bit. So right down here in that cement, right there, underneath where it keeps popping up that other window, but right there, there's blood coming out from, it's right there, you can kind of just barely make it out, but it's coming out of that room because that's Xana's room right there. Yep, they're zooming in on it. I think the people that are going into the house put that there to keep people from coming in. So it makes you wonder then if there isn't really a lock on that sliding glass door. That somebody, why not just lock it if you're there, right? Yeah, so right there, that's blood coming out of that house. That's crazy. That's just a retaining wall there. Yeah, see, look at that's a road right there. That's a great example. Look how close that little street is to this whole place. It just goes right up there. There's there's cars that can park right there, and they just walk down. Like the killer just walks right down. Kohberger walked down, goes underneath this deck, goes in there. But I mean, you can park right back through there, and you're just right there. You can see right into Madison Mogen's window. And I went out there. So later on, once we get through these dates and we start analyzing the crime in later shows, I'll show you my videos, and I have 360-degree video where you can look in all directions. I walked around the 500 Queen Road. I think I even flew my drone up above the house at one point. I wish I would have just been like, screw this, and flown it right down, down there and around, on the deck even, or whatever, But you got this cop that's always standing below, protecting, or a security guard protecting it. But hey guys, don't be shy out there. If you want to help support the channel tonight, that'd be great. Plus, you get a chance to win the notebook, stress ball, pen, poker chip, and that's it. That's it, I guess. Yeah. And look, there's a good view right there of 500 Queen Road. You walk back there, and when the car went around here, it did a 3-point turn right back behind there at one point, and it came back this way on the final pass. And then it would drive up and down that road outside there. In fact, one of the times it drives down that road, and you can see it on a different camera, the vehicle driving by. That's what mine does too.
Landing.
Alright. Former Los Angeles Police Department Detective Mark Furman similarly said MPD's statement saying the attack was isolated and targeted struck him as odd, especially given the fact that the statement was made before the coroner released preliminary. You know what's weird is they were correct, though. The targeted attack, even if that is true, just doesn't make sense. What do you mean it doesn't make sense? Furman said. In my 20 years in the LAPD, I have never heard anything like that. You can't make that determination that quick. Even if it's true, it just doesn't make sense? What do you mean it doesn't make sense? To have them say this was an isolated, targeted attack. Yeah, the isolated part is kind of dumb. They could be 100% right, but they have to have something that made them say that. The former LAPD detective speculated that the perpetrator may have left a note or message of some sort in the house. Some indication that the attack was in fact isolated. You know, here's what I think. I mean, I think it's possible that the knife sheath that was found on the bed was a calling card, and that he was going to continue to kill and leave knife sheaths at different places, perhaps even that same type, and then he'd be known for that. And so maybe they were thinking that he left that there, but it's also, you know, that it was so there was so much anger in it. I mean, Bundy would be like that too, so it's hard to say. Hey, thanks, Allie Cake. She's trying for another wave out there. Maybe this time people won't let you down, Allie Cake. Both Furman and Weisberg said knife attacks are usually personal and violent. Right. Furman noted that male killers usually shoot their victims while females more frequently opt for knives. See, he had already been, I bet you somebody already got to him. Oh yeah, it's got to be what are you talking about? I don't agree with that at all. I think, you know, lots of stabbings by men out there. The coroner said that they were pretty much all the same, so in my mind that means that somebody really didn't know how to use that weapon in a lethal manner quickly, Furman said about the victim's causes of death, which the Latah County coroner confirmed to be homicide by stabbing on Thursday. Weisberg said knife attacks are very personal and might lead police to believe the attack was a crime of passion potentially committed by someone who knew the victims. Both former detectives said it's possible the victims, two surviving roommates who were in the house when the murder took place, may not have heard the attack. Well, one of them did. Police did not respond to the scene until around noon on November 13th, which is really only about 8 hours after the attack. So, you know, if Dylan Mortensen and them did go to sleep, maybe they slept in later, but I don't know how you could sleep after hearing what you heard. But if you didn't go down and check, you were just trying to make sure, you know, you didn't want reality to sink in. So you just see this guy walking by, you don't hear any more crying or whimpering, and you just go back to your room and you lock your door and you're just sort of freaking out, like, what happened, what happened, what happened? And then maybe eventually you fall asleep, or, you know, I don't know how that happens. But both former detectives said it's possible. Okay, they didn't hear it. And this says, when they responded to the 911 call about an unconscious person, police did not respond to the scene until noon. People aren't talking when they're focused on not dying. That doesn't disturb me too much. It's not TV, Furman said, when asked his thoughts on why no one heard enough noise to call 911 immediately. I mean, that's a pretty good sentence there. People aren't talking when they are focused on not dying. You might say something at first, but then you're focused on stopping the attack. There could also be, there could have also been other noises, factors at the house to explain why no one heard enough noise to call police, Weiberg said. Hey, Alley Cake, you're turning into an Amber Maiden. You know, where, remember when Amber would send in and say, hey, everybody, let's do a wave, and nobody would follow. But thanks for the thought. Defense wounds, that usually indicates a lot of noise, he said. Then again, there could have been music in the house. Local, state, and federal officials are involved in the investigation and are processing nearly 500 tips. University of Idaho murders. Threat still possible without any suspects in custody. So the Moscow Police Department has assigned 4 detectives, 24 patrol officers, and 5 support staff employees to the case. The FBI has 22 investigators in Moscow, 20 agents in other areas of the United States, and 2 behavioral analysis unit agents working on the case. The Idaho State Police have deployed 20 investigators, 15 state troopers, etc. Hey, Moofies, thank you. Get you in there for 2 wedges. All right, there we go. Weiberger said the FBI is likely retracing the victims' steps before their murders, looking at all the victims' recent connections and interrelationships, including past relationships. If investigators believe the attack was targeted and established a more solid timeline. Yeah. Well, the thing is, Kohberger is like a serial killer in the making. You know, so he's not like the typical targeted boyfriend type of attack. No, he's not taking the stand. Slain University of Idaho student fought to defend herself. Dad says she's a tough kid. The killing of 4 University of Idaho students have left the small community of Moscow shaken and afraid as the suspects remain at large. On November 13th, the 4 students were killed. Limited information about the investigation has been released, but on Thursday, Latah County Coroner Catherine Mavitt confirmed in a release that the students were stabbed to death. Now the father of one of the victims is speaking out about who his daughter was and how she courageously fought with her attacker. She just liked having fun, Xana Kernodle's father, Jeffrey Kernodle, told Arizona's family. She was all the time, always with her friends, he said. Jeffrey said that Xana was in a constant communication with her family and that he last heard from his daughter around midnight on Sunday. I think midnight was the last time we heard from her, and she was fine. Wow. So that was like she's still at the party or something. Authorities have said there were no signs of forced entry. Jeffrey told the outlet that the front door of the student's home, where all 4 victims were found, had a lock with a number code, so the killer either knew the code or went to the side sliding door of the home to check if it was unlocked, he said. Well, that's exactly what he did. No suspects have been named or arrested at this time, although Moscow authorities initially called the killings an isolated targeted attack and stated that the public was not in danger. We do not have a suspect at this time, and the individual is still out there, Moscow Police Chief James Fry said. Let's see, when I went up there, I saw her just a week before. Let's see, what is this? Kernodle and Chapin were a romantic relationship, and Chapin's mother, Stacy Chapin, previously told King 5 that her son was spending the night with her girlfriend the night they were killed. Her and Ethan were together about a year, give or take. When I went up there, I saw her just a week before that, and she changed a lot. She had a life. She got to see what it was like to have a boyfriend you live with, and she really turned around. She was really responsible, helping him out with his studies and stuff. I was really impressed. That's kind of sad. Jeffrey told the outlet that the autopsy showed that his daughter fought her killer based on bruises she sustained during the attack. So that means Xana was fighting. Bruises torn by a knife, Jeffrey said. Wow. She's a tough kid. Whatever she wanted to do, she could do it. All right, here's another update by the Moscow Police Department. It says, Moscow, Idaho, Moscow Police Department is providing the following information to update the public on the known facts surrounding the 4 murders that occurred on November 13th, Moscow, Idaho. Detectives are releasing that on the morning of November 13th, the surviving roommates summoned friends to the residence because they believe one of the second-floor victims had passed out and was not waking up. At 11:58 a.m., 911 call requested aid for an unconscious person. The call originated from inside the residence on one of the surviving roommates' cell phones. Multiple people talked with the 911 dispatcher before a Moscow police officer arrived at the location. At this time, in the investigation, detectives do not believe any individual at the residence when the 911 call is involved in the crime. Rumors and speculation continue circulating about the ongoing investigation. MPD cautions the public not to rely on rumors and remain committed to keeping the public informed. The tips detectives are looking for context to the events and people involved in the murders. Anyone who has observed notable behavior, has video surveillance, or can provide relevant information is asked to call the tip line. Let's see. All press releases go through. Okay, so that's just the original one again. So that's the week after University of Idaho students were killed. There are mounting questions in the investigation and few answers. 1 week after the bodies of 4 University of Idaho students were discovered in their shared off-campus home in the town of Moscow, authorities do not have a suspect in custody, nor has a weapon been found. You know, it's weird. I didn't really realize, but it was like almost 6 weeks till they got somebody. That's pretty crazy. Yep. Maybe I'll open up my model so we can look at it later. Telling you guys, those notebooks are pretty amazing. It's got the logo on the front and everything. That thing's slow. Yeah, you get to buy me a coffee. You have 2 more shots than if you just sent the super chat in. All right, let's see. I'm just waiting for this to load up. Well, you know why they got him? I don't know if you guys remember, but if you were here, they had Misty Gillis on. We had Misty Gillis on, and I thought to myself, even before that, I actually just asked her while she was on, but I said on another show, I said, in cases like this, why don't they just deploy rapid investigative genetic genealogy? Just put it at the front of the line at every agency, quickly get it in there, get a sequence put into GEDmatch, and get the name of the person. And then she goes, well, it might take a couple weeks. And I go, well, let's say you could just wipe everybody else out and there was no you didn't have to wait for anything. And she said, well, 2 days. And then it turns out that's exactly what they did. So you guys, if you're on this channel, you'll have some accurate speculation as well. And the reason is because we use common sense, logic, and reason on this channel. I know that's hard. It's not really common anymore. Police have fielded 646 tips and have conducted more than 90 interviews so far. We're trying to expedite everything that might possibly lead to a suspect. The 4 students killed Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Goncalves, Xana Kernodle, and Madison Mogen were discovered by police last Sunday. Thompson was one of several officials who spent about 2 hours at the crime scene Saturday as part of the active investigation. I wish we had more answers, and they're still asking questions, Thompson said. With a town and campus community increasingly concerned over the homicides and lack of answers in the case, many students have left Moscow ahead of the fall break. Right. Police working to fill a timeline. Investigators this week have started to build a timeline of events regarding the students and their last known whereabouts. So this is what they have here. We've already looked at that earlier. Goncalves' sister, Olivia Goncalves, said that the resident was known to be a party house. Thus, some previous visitors may have had access. Hey, thanks, Moofies, for the coffee. The 2 were at the home during the attack and were not injured. Moscow police do not believe the 2 were involved in the crime. Those are the 2 other the roommates. The house was also a sliding door which could have been used to gain entry. Well, I think it was. So here's this is what it looks like. So that's the same, that's how the house looks, right? That's the front door, and I don't know why I can't get rid of these little sort of widgets or whatever they are, but you can see that's the front door of the house. And then, if I was going around the back of the house, the blood that was coming out was right there. This is the sliding glass of the back of the house. This is Kaylee's bedroom, and this right here is Dylan Mortensen's room. Well, you can't. Can you see it? Yeah, Dylan Mortensen's room, and then that's the kitchen window, sliding glass door, Kaylee's room, and then this is the window above the staircase that comes up. So I would imagine by scouting this residence, he could tell immediately that somebody could just walk in and then you see them go upstairs, so you know that, okay, the stairs are probably just right below that. So it's really kind of easy to visualize the layout. It's not complicated in that area right there. All right, so the way it looked inside the house, let's go to the camera on the head of this person. This is at the front of the house, right? So you go inside, and then just to the right there is a room that was used for storage by everybody. Then the laundry room and bathroom are right there. Then this is Bethany Funk's room. So this is in the front of the house on the bottom level on the left side if you're looking at the front door. Then if you came into that, that's the front door there again. But these are the stairs that go up to the second floor. And then once you get up to the second floor, there was like a couch in the corner and a TV right there. And then apparently inside this room, this is where Xana and Ethan were found. Now I don't know, I kind of have it where Ethan's on the bed, to be honest with you. And Xana's not. And so this is that bedroom. And then you come out and walk around, and then that right there is Dylan Mortensen's bedroom. And so like she was just looking out the door was slightly open when Kohberger walks by, that you'd hear later when we get to that part. But then you go up the stairs right here, and then at the top of the stairs, that is Kaylee's bedroom, and then there's a dog in there. And then right here there's a bathroom, and that's what blocks some of the sound out. And then this is Madison Mogen's room, and then you can see the deck outside of her window. And then right back here is where Kohberger was waiting in a car up in the parking spot, just right out there. You could see right in the window. And then the bodies were kind of like this. The knife sheath was over here on the right hand side, and Kaylee's sitting up, bent over. Then you go down the steps again, and then right to the right is Dylan Mortensen again. That's the living room and the stairs that go down. But if you'd taken a right as you come out, there it is. So when the killer came in, they just merely came through this door and then walked in that way, or they just started going right up these stairs. See? Or they went in and had to deal with, Xana and Ethan first. All right? So there you go. Hopefully you found that interesting.
To Idaho and the deepening mystery surrounding them.
I think a lot of you aren't really watching. You're watching something on television, but just have it on like as if you're here. That's what I'm feeling like. Yeah. I don't know this comment. Dummy to the point, crying Richard Allen, get a fair trial. Boo-hoo. Richard Allen was locked up and was not convicted. Up. I brought 5 up Kohberger. Both locked up and not convicted yet. So what? Yeah, that's that's what you do. They didn't want him to do anything to himself. All right. I know it's Monday night, everybody's busy, but if you're out there and you want to get that shot at winning the notebook, that would be fantastic. See, police in Moscow, Idaho said Sunday that other friends were in the house when a 911 call was made. The 911 call was placed last Sunday at 11:58 a.m. I thought that's when people showed up, reporting an unconscious person. 2 victims were found on the 2nd floor and 2 on the 3rd floor. Yeah, Madison and Kaylee were found on the same bed. 2 female surviving roommates were at the house at the time and were not hurt. I mean, basically, if you just want to know just the general deal is, so if you look at it like this, right? This is where Bethany Funk lived. That's the living room. This is just the front of the house, that normal shot that you see at the front of the house. This is Xana Kernodle's bedroom. This is a storage room. Then, in the living room, you can go up some. I mean, I can actually get rid of that for a second. Watch. See, look. So after you come up these stairs right here, you can go down the hallway into Xana Kernodle's room right there. And then there's this opening here that is in the living room. You can go right into Dylan's room or straight ahead, right up the steps. Then once you go up the steps, let's see, let me try to click on that one. There it is. Like that. So look, when you come up the stairs, so when you go through on this one, see how if you walk straight, you go up the stairs, then you come up the stairs, and then this is Kaylee's room, and then right like that, you turn and go into that room, and that's where Madison Mogen and Kaylee Goncalves are. And then from behind, down here is Dylan Mortenson's room. This is Madison Mogen's room, and this is Kaylee's room, right above the sliding glass door. I don't know if it's better than Jodi Arias. Now that one had every little detail in there. This one's pretty good because it was complicated. The flooring and everything.
Tonight, Krem.
Actually, let's just play that press conference. So this is on the 20th. I think this is press conference number 2. And this is right off their website.
Scott Green, FRY. I'd like to introduce.
Here, let me put it in my Adobe Premiere here. Yeah, it's. What do you mean empty? What do you mean by that? If it's not there, the building, then it's empty, right? I mean, if they started building again? I guess I don't know the answer to that.
We will continue to vigorously pursue the investigation and pursue justice.
Okay, that's probably loud enough, right? I guess I'm making it a little bit louder. How about like 2 more and then turn this down. Here we go.
Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Chief James Fry with the Moscow Police Department. The last spelling of my name is FRY. I'd like to introduce Moscow Police Captain Roger Lanier, Colonel Kedrick Wells of the Idaho State Police, University of Idaho President Scott Green, Dean of Students for the University of Idaho, Blaine Eccles, and Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson. This incident has shaken our community, has continued to shake our community, and we continue to mourn for the victims. We will continue to vigorously pursue the investigation and pursue justice in this case. It is a complex and terrible crime, and it will take some time to to resolve. Today, we want to clarify what we know and where we're at in this investigation. Our primary goal is public safety and to get a completion of this case and bring someone to justice. We continue to dedicate all the resources to this investigation. We've had 646 tips received, and all will be processed, vetted, investigated, and cleared. We've done over 90 interviews in this case so far, and the Moscow Police Department is utilizing the assistance from the Idaho State Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the Latah County Sheriff's Office. The personnel that has been assigned to this from the Moscow Police Department is 4 detectives, 24 officers, and 5 support staff. Federal Bureau of Investigators, we have 22 investigators in Moscow, 20 additional are assigned and located in the Treasure Valley, Salt Lake City, Utah, and West Virginia. We have 2 behavior analysis individuals from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. For the Idaho State Police, we have 20 investigators, a public information officer, ISP Forensic Services, and a crime scene team. We have 15 uniformed troopers to assist our community to help provide the additional resources for our patrols. Detectives are looking to develop any content that would help us in this event. Anyone who has observed any notable behavior or has any video surveillance or can provide relevant information about these murders, please call our tip line at 208-883-7180. Or you can email the tip line and that is tipline@ci.
Hey, thank you up there to, what do we got? GSU PM. We put that in there. Hold on. And then we got Vicky White. All right. Thank you. Thanks for thinking of me.
.moscow.id.us. At this time, I would like to introduce Captain Lanier to give you some additional information.
Good afternoon. My name is Roger Lanier. I'm a captain over the Operations Division for the Moscow Police Department. My last name is spelled Lanier. I just want to first state that this tragic murder has shaken the community. It's been very hard for members of the community, and it's been equally difficult for our officers and for the investigators. We will continue to put all of our resources towards investigating and bringing this to a resolution. Here's what we've determined so far. On the evening of November 12th, Kaylee Goncalves and Madison Mogen were at a local bar and were later at a food truck in downtown Moscow. They arrived home at approximately 1:45 a.m. on the morning of November 13th. Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle were at the Sigma Chi house before also arriving home at approximately 1:45 a.m. 2 surviving roommates were also out in the community, and they returned home at approximately 1 a.m. and did not wake up until later that morning. On the morning of November 13th, at 11:58 a.m., a 911 call was placed to the Whitcomb Dispatch Center reporting an unconscious person. The call originated from inside the residence and was made from the phone of one of the surviving roommates. Moscow Police Department officers responded and located 4 victims, 2 on the second floor
Creme
and
2's
2
Janelle Finch is
on
joining
the
us
third
live
floor.
in Moscow with more of what we learned
The Latah
in
County
press
coroners
conference from
conducted
earlier
autopsy.
today. Janelle.
I don't know where that's coming from. Hold on.
1 week ago, I stood here and told you about how Moscow police were investigating a home near the University of Idaho's campus where they found 4 people dead.
Autopsies, and detectives have been provided with the results of those autopsies. We know that the autopsies confirmed the identity of the 4 victims, determined the cause and manner of death as a homicide by stabbing, and determined that it was likely all 4 victims were asleep during the attack. Some of the victims had defensive wounds, and each victim was stabbed multiple times. There was no sign of sexual assault. Investigators have determined 2 areas of interest within the city and have provided maps which are on our Facebook page and on our website. And these are areas that they have canvassed for additional surveillance video and tips and have contacted several residents in the areas. The areas are generally south of Taylor Avenue to Palouse River Drive and west of Highway 95. Detectives have also canvassed several other neighborhoods looking for evidence, looking for additional surveillance video, and contacting residents and speaking to them to see if they may have heard or seen something. I want to address several areas of speculation, conjecture, and misinformation that has circulated on social media platforms and otherwise. We do not believe the following individuals are involved in this crime. The 2 surviving roommates.
This is when they finally clear Kaylee's boyfriend. Before that, they were still saying they were still looking into it. And even the Goncalves were like, I don't know why they're looking into him. Turned out they were right, but they were.
A male seen at the grub truck food vendor downtown, specifically wearing a white hoodie. A private party who provided rides home to Kaylee and Madison in the early morning hour of November 13th. Additionally, the identity of the 911 caller and the 911 call have not been released, so any information out there.
Well, maybe they don't clear him yet. But still, they keep it lingering. So I think maybe it's after this. I don't know.
There's speculation about that. Investigators are aware that multiple phone calls from Madison and Kaylee's phone were made to a male subject. Any online reports stating that the victims had been tied and gagged.
So, see that right there? They were still looking into that person at the time because they didn't clear him. You notice that? They are aware of that person.
Are not accurate. Detectives seized the contents of 3 dumpsters on King Road and searched those dumpsters in an effort to find additional evidence, but nothing of note was discovered. Early in the investigation, local businesses were canvassed in an effort to see if any fixed blade type knives may have recently been purchased. And currently, there are no suspects in custody, and we have not located a weapon. I want to assure you that every investigator involved will continue to put all of their resources and all of our partner agencies' resources into continuing this investigation. We do appreciate the community's support. We understand how stressful it is, and we will continue to work through this situation. At this time, I would like to turn the mic over to Colonel Wills from the Idaho State Police.
Thank you, Captain. My name is Kedrick Wills, K-E-D-R-I-C-K-W-I-L-L-S, and I serve as the Director of the Idaho State Police, and I appreciate your attendance this afternoon as we talk about this horrific, horrific crime. The murders of Ethan, Xana, Madison, and Kaylee are a tragic loss to all of us. Nothing we can do will bring back these young lives. But we have an absolute commitment to working together to solve these senseless murders. And the way that we know how to do that is partnerships. And our partnership with the Moscow Police Department, with the Idaho State Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the University of Idaho to bring this issue to a conclusion and bring this to justice is absolute. We continue with Idaho State Police resources here on the ground in Moscow and throughout Idaho. Whatever the needs are, that's what we want to do. And the chief spoke about the Idaho State Police resources that are here, and he spoke about patrol resources. And we have those uniformed troopers here in Moscow and on the campus of the University of Idaho to help people to feel safe and to provide that security to the people that are here, both in the student body as well as in the community at large. And we will continue to do that as long as is necessary throughout this time. In addition, that's in addition to our forensics team that was here, in addition to our investigative team and all the other state police resources. We know that people want answers. We want answers too. As was already mentioned, this is really, really difficult for those investigators, those dedicated professionals who are investigating this crime. And a lot of people have expressed their desire to help, and the best thing that most of people can do to help is to stop with any kind of rumors and just seek official information that comes out of the Moscow Police Department. Anything that we have that we can share from a law enforcement perspective, we will be sharing just as soon as we can, because that's how we think that we can get this to conclusion. Please rely on official sources of information, and please be patient. I understand that everybody wishes that this was solved already, but these things take time. It takes time to work through. You heard the stats of all the tips and everything, the interviews and everything that's been done. This takes time for our investigators to work through. So please be patient as we work through this investigation. We owe this to these young kids, to these young adults. We owe it to them. And we are absolutely dedicated to make sure that that happens. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce the University of Idaho President Scott Green.
Scott Green, President, University of Idaho. Last name spelled Green, like the color. First, we continue to extend our heartfelt condolences to the families and friends of the victims. As stated earlier, we want justice and appreciate the increased resources from the Idaho State Police and FBI that have been brought to bear on this crime. We fully appreciate and share the frustration of our students, employees, parents, and community members who continue to push for answers. While we wait for answers in the investigation, we've ramped up our security safety practices and are listening to students and supporting them in any way possible. The University of Idaho's primary focus now is on supporting our students and working to meet their varied needs. The police continue to inform us that they believe this was a targeted attack, but we recognize this is not good enough for some of our students who will want to complete their semester remotely until the person who committed the crime is in custody. We are also hearing that some students want to be back on campus and in Moscow because they gain comfort from the structure of classes and being with their friends and professors. All reactions and feelings are valid, and we all process these tragedies differently. We're asking instructors to plan for both sets of students as we finish the semester.
Yeah, so what somebody's claiming in the chat is that I said that I'm blaming Kaylee. All I said was I thought that her boyfriend was involved because they shared this dog together. They were together for a long time, but then they sort of broke up and they were seeing other people. And I thought that maybe the boyfriend had something to do with it, because that's also the same person that Kaylee tried to call, then Madison tried to call, and then Kaylee tried to call, all about an hour before the murders. So that's a little unusual, right? So it seemed like a possibility. But it turns out he had nothing to do with it. His friend told him not to return the call and make him hard to get. So because he was playing hard to get, he never communicated, never answered the phone call, likely maybe even saving his life. Although if he went over there, maybe they would have stayed in Kaylee's room, and then who knows how it would have played out. Okay, there's no absolutely zero blaming of anybody in anything that I just said. Okay, and it wasn't implied or anything, Jalen. So, just try to work through things a little bit better when people are talking. I think it'll save you a lot of grief.
We will be communicating decisions early this week so that families can discuss and plan their individual response over the Thanksgiving break. We learned a lot during COVID, and we have many course delivery options our faculty can...
I don't know. What does that mean, GSUPM? Gray is even funnier typing than hearing him say the same thing out loud. I don't know what that means.
...and deploy to meet student needs. Student and employee safety remain our priority. We have increased security patrols on campus since we were notified of this off-campus incident. We have also benefited from increased Idaho State Police presence on our campus, which we are grateful for. They have been a very visible force, and they will continue this dedicated presence on our campus into the foreseeable future. Importantly, they have also assigned resources to the community since this crime occurred off campus. In addition to the campus-wide precautions being taken, we offer the following safety and security features in our residence halls. We will continue our Safe Walk, available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Oh yeah, Drisport? What does it mean then? What does it mean, Drisport? Go ahead. Gray is even funnier typing than hearing him say the same thing out loud. What? What are you referring to? Go ahead, explain it to me. We'll put the show on pause until we get the answer. That'd be great. When you say your brain doesn't work. Oh, you mean I said it out loud and then I typed it in? Well, why not put that whole thing in a sentence then? Say, hey, it's even funnier when you say your brain doesn't work when you say it out loud when you type it. Then people would get it. But it's like you left out all the other stuff. I mean, you guys must know girl code or something. You guys are able to determine what somebody's saying out of nothing.
A week. All residence halls are locked 24 hours a day and only accessible by students that live in the building. All guests must be accompanied by a resident of the building. Each residential community has a dedicated resident assistant staff and a live-in full-time resident director to help ensure a safe environment. Every evening, there are resident assistants.
I don't know how you got that from there. I guess because I typed it in above, right?
Since that are on duty to perform safety and security rounds in their area, including during fall break. Housing and Resident Life always has at least 2 full-time staff members that are on call to provide support and emergency response 24 hours a day, including over the fall break. And our Learning Center Information Desk Living and Learning Center Information Desk is open 24 hours a day and will be open all of fall break for our students' needs. While we certainly hope there is a swift closure with the arrest of whoever is responsible for this crime, we must also be prepared for all the possibilities, including a lengthy investigation. We must balance safety concerns and the need to grieve, along with the long-term needs of our students and our employees. We're making security our top priority. We are also planning for the very real possibility that some students aren't comfortable returning to campus. We will do our best to meet the needs of all students. Our faculty is working hard over the break to consider alternative delivery methods. We will also continue making counseling services available for all our students and employees as we process our grief. The care and concern for our Vandal family is our primary role, and we take that very seriously. We are a Vandal family, and nothing means more to us than family. And I'd also like to just thank all those for the great outpouring of support we've received from the nation. It's been incredible time, and all those who stand in solidarity with us, just know it means a great deal to us. Thank you.
So we're going to open it up at this time to about 8 to 10 questions. We ask that only 1 question is asked per person, please. And I would also like to just see if there's an Argonaut reporter here I think it's only fair to give our student reporter the first shot.
Speak up if you're in the room, if you're from the Argonaut. Are you from the Argonaut?
Are you from the University of Idaho Argonaut? Is anybody from the University of Idaho Argonaut? Okay.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Ted Williams, Fox News. You all have said that these killings are targeted. Can you share with us why you believe they are?
You know what's weird? It sucks though for me is I've never liked this guy the way he explains or talks about something. It just always seems so, I don't know. It's not creative. No, there's nothing about the thinking. It's just all the same platitudes that you hear all the time, over and over. There's no really kind of working through it.
Targeted killings, and do you know?
I know he's a Fox News guy, so I normally would like him, but I don't know why.
Who, if any, of the victims were the actual targets of the killings?
As we stated earlier in the previous press release, our press conference, we believe they're targeted because we take a totality of all the circumstances that we're looking at. Do we know any one person that it was targeted? We're not able to say at this point in time due to our investigation.
I was being serious, GSU PM.
We still believe that.
I was being serious.
But like I said, we take a totality of everything that we're looking at.
I guess that's what didn't make sense to me is I wasn't being funny when I told the person above that their brain just isn't working correctly if they think that I was just victim blaming Kaylee Goncalves. That would mean that your brain is stunted and something is absolutely wrong, and I would go to the emergency room immediately to figure out why that happened.
Chief Glenn Mosley, Idaho Public Radio here.
But hey, guys, if you guys can help support the channel tonight, get your chance to win the notebook. That would be awesome. If you send a coffee in, you get, for every $5, you get 2 different wedges up there. But I would appreciate the support on the channel. That's how we keep the lights on over here, as they say.
In Moscow, on the resources, do you have the resources that you need?
We do have the resources. It is an incredible outpouring of what we receive from the Idaho State Police and from the Federal Bureau of Investigations and Latah County. Anything we ask for is given. So at any time, if we need additional, all I have to do is call the colonel, and he will provide that. He's already guaranteed me that, and I know the FBI has said the same thing.
Hi, Emma Epperly from the Spokesman Review. I know you've said you're not going to release who the 911 caller was, but was the killer the 911 caller?
I will tell you no.
Can you clarify, you said it was made from the roommate's phone, but you didn't say the roommate made the call. So did the roommate make the call on the roommate's phone, or can you clarify if it was another individual?
The roommate made a call, or it was her phone, but one of the friends made the call when they showed up. By the way, tomorrow at 11 my time, I'm going to have Nancy Galvani, or hold on a second, is that my brain? I think that's the mom's name. Hold on a second. Yeah, we're going to have Allison Galvani on. We're going to go back over the Nancy, her mother's case, that crazy case where, I mean, it's so obvious that her estranged husband or ex-husband killed her. I mean, it's not even like a debate. But somehow he hasn't been charged or anything yet. So we got to have to, I'm going to do a show tomorrow and put all the different pieces together. And then I'm going to make a video that just kind of hits all the main points the way I do it. And then we'll have people go out and share it all over the place. Put some pressure on law enforcement. I mean, it's just ridiculous, this case. So the case, if I just kind of remember it right, Allison was a really young child at the time, and Nancy, her mother, I think he was divorced from the father, living in a different house, and then Nancy was supposed to, Allison was staying over apparently with the father for like the weekend or something, and then Nancy was supposed to pick her up, but the father had Nancy pick her up a day earlier than she was supposed to, and then Nancy's body's found, I believe, floating in a river and wrapped in a blanket. Turns out the blanket was from Nancy's car. Then Nancy's car was actually spotted at the ex-husband's house in the driveway. And then when police, eventually the father had to put out a missing person report, and then they found her car in his garage and her clothing that she was wearing earlier in the day inside the house. And somehow, and then the father had already enrolled the daughter in a different school, and I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. Okay, so if you want to watch that one tomorrow at 11, make sure to come over.
Actually, if we could just go to this one first. So what I'll say to that is it was made from the roommate's phone, excuse me, and we're not going to divulge who made that call. It's part of our investigation still, and when we get ready to release that, we will.
No, I live in Oregon.
Hi, Christina Corbin with Fox News. The male subject whom the women called, has he been ruled out as a suspect or person of interest?
Everything that we have taken from those calls, we have followed up on, we've cleared, and we believe that there's no connection there.
Gotti Schwartz, NBC News. Just following up on the 911 call, you said that you don't believe that's the killer. Can you conclusively rule out the person that called 911 from inside the home as a suspect in this case?
Can you go ahead and just ask that one more time, please?
The person that was inside the home that called 911 that was not one of the roommates. Can you conclusively rule that person out as a suspect at this point?
I don't think I said that it wasn't one of the roommates. I said that it was used with the roommate's phone.
I believe somebody asked if that was the killer.
Yeah, but just answer the question.
No,
is he a suspect? The person who used the phone.
So will you clarify that for me?
You're not confirming a roommate called 911, but if you used the roommate's phone, so was there someone else at the home other than those two roommates?
Right.
There was other friends that had arrived at the location.
Just say what it is, you idiot. I mean, like, this isn't something you got to be secret about.
Honestly, I'm not quite sure at this time, to be quite honest.
Do you guys have any idea if the killer's still within the community, or
I hate
are you
crap like that
looking
right
outside the community for the killer in terms of their physical location?
We are looking everywhere that
Yeah,
evidence would
that's
lead.
where I got these from the website that's still open. I have all of the like the videos are online, but those PDF files are still out on their website. I had to search for it. Yeah, it's tomorrow. But I'll ask one last time if anybody wants to get in on the drawing for the notebook. If you send 5 in, you get a wedge. If you send less in, you get put into the other category. If it happens to win the other, then I spin for the others. So you still have a shot, but
Lead us. I can't say if the person's here. I can't say what community the person's in. We're utilizing every resource we can to make that location of that individual. And part of that is the safety of our community is paramount, and that's why we brought in the resource that we brought in to keep our community as safe as we can.
Being so close to the border, does that make it kind of automatically an interstate investigation? Can you comment on that?
I cannot comment on that. I'm not even aware.
If you look in Washington at all, I guess, for...
We're looking everywhere. I'm going to take 2 more questions.
Do you still believe this attack was done by one perpetrator? And if so, how does one individual kill 4 people at night and not wake up the other 2 roommates?
Our investigation will continue to look at.
Yeah, see, this is when the sort of suspicion and the bullcrap about. I went onto Twitch and I didn't find the original video of Grub Truck. I saw the same exact people, and I even found a clip from 2 years ago, but it wasn't the one. So I don't know if they got rid of it, or if you can find the Twitch video. I want the original, not some version that somebody put on YouTube. I mean, I had it. I have it somewhere, I think. I just have to find it.
All avenues of that investigation.
What do you mean you believe BK is the killer? Of course he's the killer. Bryan Kohberger is the killer, everybody. It's a 100% that Bryan Kohberger is the killer in the Idaho 4 murder case. There is no doubt. Okay? I just think it'll be interesting how it's all proven. There's a lot of people out there that it's more interesting to pretend that he's innocent, because you can keep creating content over and over and over again. All these other reasons. It was the aliens, it was Bigfoot, it was Sasquatch, it was the abominable snowman, it was Loch Ness Monster, et cetera, et cetera.
I cannot disclose any of that information. I don't even know.
A lot of these speculations, don't know what that means, Muddy. Just that sentence alone doesn't make sense. A lot of these speculations. Okay. I don't have any speculation in the case. Other than okay, was he right here on a road or whatever? The information that's in the probable cause document alone is enough. But there's a hell of a lot more.
Know that information at this point in time, and that's why we're continuing to investigate.
You don't know how this happened?
Because he was just getting the hell out of there. Probably didn't see the person. Dylan Mortensen has nothing to do with this, you guys. She has absolutely nothing to do with it. He might not have seen her. It was just a crack in the door. She watched him coming. Lights were probably off in her room. He goes around the corner. He's getting the hell out of the house.
Without the other two roommates hearing it or waking up or noticing?
We do not. One more question.
Hi, Angela Palermo, Idaho Statesman.
Yeah, well, those people are. I mean, it's smart if you're trying to get a lot of subs and subscribers on one case, and actually do well financially by getting a lot of views on all your videos. You just keep building upon a speculation over and over and over and over and over again, and then you'll have content forever. If you're somebody like me who switches around to different cases, I don't build. It'll have to be, I'm trying to get back into where I can have people that are watching my channel regarding this case again, because if you want to be where the actual reality of the case is and have it right from the beginning, this is the place to go. Now, if you want entertainment to see all the other crazy theories, you go have a great time somewhere else. Okay, because they're just inventing stuff out of thin air to build an audience. And it works, man. It works. There are way more conspiracy nutter YouTube watchers than regular rational people. It's amazing. Hey, thanks, Karen accounts up there as well. There we go. So that's the reality of it. If you want to be somewhere where you're just going to work through the facts of the case and come up with the rational, logical conclusion, this is where you want to be. It's not as fun, it's not like, woohoo, we can invent all this weird shit, the Bryan Kohberger, etc., etc. Yeah. Crazy. Or is it Brent Kohberger?
In the press release yesterday, you confirmed that the victims were found on the second and third floors of the home. Can you say which of the victims were found where?
I'm not going to go ahead and disclose
Why
that
not,
information.
though?
They
Why
were found on
not?
the second
What
and
does that
third
matter?
floor. And that's as far as we're going to go with that part of the investigation too, because all those key pieces do come to play later. So we do thank you. We thank you for...
No, they don't. They never really, you know... I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Meeting with us. We thank you for helping get information out, and I can assure you we will continue to work hard. We will continue to do everything we can to solve this. So thank you.
Is this related to any animal mutilations?
Oh, yeah, you hear that person? The person brought up the animal mutilations. That one dog that was skinned alive. It had to have been Kohberger. Oh yeah, that's right. Karen Messenger, you won the spin from yesterday. So if you send me your email with your address on it, send me an email with your address and your name. I'm sure that's your name. I'll send you, when I finally get the notebooks, I ordered them last week, the notebooks, the pen, etc. I will send you the notebook, pen, let's see, stress ball, and poker chip from my channel. So you won it earlier in the show. If you go back right to the beginning of the show, there you go. So you too, you guys, if you're out there, let's get the support going so you can also win that and help the channel out at the same time. That would be absolutely awesome.
Again, in terms of technology, do you think the victims might be connected?
The dog? Well, you won here. I guess if you win tonight, you can choose to let somebody else win and we spin again. Mm-hmm. I don't know, did we do this one? Maybe not, let's see.
No answers. Chris Wecker now, former FBI Assistant Director. Chris, nice to see you again. Good morning to you.
Morning, Bill.
This came in yesterday. This is a third-year law student at the school. His name is Jeremy Reagan. He described what investigators talked to him about.
Officer that came by door to door, he asked if we had any sort of surveillance or if we knew about any other cameras or anything in the area. Sadly, this is an apartment building, and I'm assuming it's relatively old, so there was nothing.
I would assume that standard.
I know exactly where that guy's standing. He's standing right here, right on that corner. 100%.
Procedure in a case like this, you know.
Yeah, sadly.
See, and right back there is the house, and that's 1112 King Road with the camera on it right there.
This is an apartment building, and I'm assuming it's relatively old, so there was nothing.
That's the
I would assume
house.
that's standard operating procedure in a case like this. You know, do you have anything that we can look at? Apparently, he did not, Chris.
Very much so in this era where videos.
I don't know if it's his car. I mean, I don't even know if it's an Elantra. It looks like an Elantra, but it's the next day too. It's not the 13th in the evening. It's the 14th. So there's no information that they have in the probable cause that his car drove back there on the 14th.
Where
he could have left his phone at home, though.
I can
So,
understand
could be.
college campuses, student housing off campus, probably not as many Ring videos and expensive surveillance cameras as you would find in an upscale neighborhood. But there are businesses nearby. There's gas stations. There is a lot of potential for video here, and I'm sure that there is a team going through all of that as we speak, and that was done early on. But it's striking after 10 days that we don't have more leads here, and we hear that there were 90 interviews done at least by 2 days ago, so it's probably well over 100 now, and we're just not seeing any suspect that had a motive or a means or an opportunity or a capability, and that would be very hard to hide if someone had that level of animosity. So it appears that at this point they're stumped.
What does that tell you? What does that tell you, Chris?
The longer this goes on, and the more investigation that takes place that doesn't identify what they call a targeted, someone who targeted these people in a personal way, then my mind starts to go elsewhere. My mind goes towards a predator, someone who selected them either that evening, saw them in a bar or at the food truck or somewhere else, one or more of these four, and followed them back to the residence and did this on a sort of a random basis. Now that predator had a big knife and took it in there with him and left there with that knife. So there was some planning here.
Chris, let me just stop you there.
But I go away from this this so-called targeted theory.
Let me just expand your theory a little bit. Here is one of the girls' fathers that was on Saturday Night with Lawrence Jones, and listen to how he described kind of what you're going at.
They're telling us that there's so much evidence that it's going to take a lot of time to process it all. This wasn't like a pinpoint crime. This person was sloppy. He made a mess, and there's a mess there, and they're going to have to go through that point by point, and that's going to take a lot of time. That's why they reached out to other facilities to help them with that lab work.
Listen, I'm just going off your theory here. We have no hard facts on this. But does what he say line up with how you describe the possibility of someone who saw them out publicly and stalked them back to their house?
Yeah, I think it does. Because of the maturity of the investigation at this point, 10 days in, I just think that if there was a personal motive here, that it would have surfaced by now through some social media postings, some accounts of interactions that led to some jealous rage or something of that nature, and we're not seeing that. Now, certainly there's forensics in there. There's a lot of blood. There's going to be fingerprints. There probably is going to be some DNA in there, hairs and fibers. There's a lot of things that you can find at a crime scene, but if you don't have a suspect to match them to, and there isn't some match in the FBI's DNA database or fingerprint database that identifies this person because they have a prior arrest record, then you're pretty much nowhere. I mean,
yeah, what are you talking about? You can't say what? Yes, how, what? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're saying.
This is the type of case I think gets solved by tips and leads and the participation of the general public. Anything that looks suspicious that night, or some similar crime that has taken place in the past or is going to take place, unfortunately.
Day 10, day 11, certainly frustrating at a minimum. Chris, good to get your thoughts today. Thank you. We'll speak again on this, unfortunately, it looks like. Thank you, Chris.
So my name is Stacy Chapin. So my name is Stacy Chapin. I thought I could do this. Today we're here to honor the life and legacy of our son and brother, Ethan Chapin, one of the most incredible people you'll ever know. Together we want to extend gratitude to the following. Our neighbors in Mount Vernon and LaConner, Washington, and the local communities of Priest Lake and Moscow, Idaho, for their ongoing support and care. Our extended family and friends who serve as beacons of strength and remain by our side throughout every moment. The Moscow Police Department, who now carry the burden every day, not only for us, but for all of the impacted families. And the many strangers across the country, your outreach and kind words are profoundly touching. Please know we now consider all of you friends. And lastly, we thank the media for keeping this story top of mind. Thank you.
Man, what a nightmare for them. All right. Anyways, I gotta get going, you guys. Thank you for being here tonight. Let's see what we've got. Thank you to Richard Watts, Alley Cake, Amber Maiden, Sirius Black, new member. Then we have K-Me. Let me do this one over here. So we had Richard Watts, Alley Cake, 18 months for Michelle H., Amber Maiden. Then we had Sirius Black, became a member. Then we had K-Me, then Zozo, then Linda Howell, then Naomi, then James Long, Alley Cake, Moofies, GSU PM, Vicky White, Linda Howell, and then Karen Messenger donated 5, and so now we'll do the, even though we didn't come close to making the goal, I'm going to still do the winner up here, all right? I'd have to figure out what makes a night different than another night. One of these days. One of these days. All right, here we go. All right, well, Karen, do you want to give it away since you just won one anyways? Because you can give away your spin and we can spin it again. All right, Karen. You can win 2 full notebook packages or whatever, but you can also give it away so somebody else can win. Not sure if you're still there. Karen Messenger. Also, thanks to Lisa Valenzuela. Let's see. Alley Cake and Moofies on the on Buy Me a Coffee. Is she not here anymore? Oh, she said, she already answered. She said, yes, sir, do not enter me again. Okay, so here we go. I just happened to see that comment up above. I just scrolled up there myself. Oh, it looks like Linda just said that too. Okay, here we go. And there's GSU PM. All right, well, GSU PM, you won a spin. The notebook, so you gotta send me an email, all right? All right. So anyways, thanks everybody for being here. We'll see you guys later. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Oh, by the way, thanks for everybody who supported the channel financially tonight. I know times aren't the greatest, so anything that you do, I appreciate it. Hopefully things will get a lot better here soon. All right. Unfortunately, right now, I'm not getting a lot of views on my videos or the live stream, so I'm kind of in a pickle. But I guess we'll just kind of weather the storm and see what happens later on. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you later. Be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person. What are you talking about, Texas? That is a crime dissector, flag rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get another troll shows up right at the end. If you try and play like they always do. Projector, crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gray is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector.
inspector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector, fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector, with all respect, ya. Just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you later.
Correct.
Okay, bye.